Imagine this. You are the hero of your own story. You follow the rules, you are kind. You play fair in a world that often doesn't. You believe your goodness is a shield, a moral compass guiding you to a righteous life. But what if that compass is broken? What if your very virtue is making you complicit in the systems it seeks to oppose? This is the silent, chilling paradox that consumed George Orwell, a man who fought fascism in the trenches, only to return and witness a more insidious tyranny taking root, not just in the state, but within the human soul itself. He saw a terrifying truth, that the desire to be perceived as good can be the most potent weapon for control. It makes you predictable, manipulable, eager to conform to whatever moral code the powerful dictate. Your need for social approval, your fear of being ostracized as impure or thought criminal, becomes your own prison. So we must ask, have you, in your quest to be a good person, unknowingly surrendered your capacity for independent, critical thought? The answer is more frightening than you think, and it begins not with a secret police, but with a mirror. If these ideas are unsettling the foundations of what you thought you knew, then you cannot afford to miss what comes next. Subscribe now, because the journey into the shadows has only just begun. This hidden problem is not a flaw in your character, but a deep-seated psychological and philosophical trap. Carl Jung warned of the shadow self, the parts of our psyche we repress to maintain a socially acceptable persona. Your conscious identity as a good person is often a carefully constructed fortress built to hide the selfish, aggressive, or rebellious impulses you fear. The system, as Orwell foresaw, doesn't want integrated individuals. It wants fractured souls who will police their own shadows, terrified of the badness within. This creates a perpetual state of inner conflict, where you project your own darkness onto external enemies, the ungood, thus fueling the very us versus them dynamics that authoritarians thrive upon. Friedrich Nietzsche saw this centuries earlier, diagnosing slave morality, a system where weakness and obedience are recast as virtues, a sly power play by the powerless. But in the modern age, this isn't just a moral choice. It's a cognitive cage. Your desire for moral purity makes you susceptible to simplistic narratives. You align with a tribe not out of deep conviction, but out of a fear of being cast out, of having your goodness revoked. The true battle is not between good and evil, but between the comfort of a manufactured conscience and the terrifying responsibility of crafting your own. But what is the ultimate cost of living inside this cage? The consequences are not what you'd expect. To ensure you don't miss the next part of this psychological exploration, hit subscribe and ring the bell. The most dangerous traps are the ones we haven't uncovered yet. The unseen consequence of this internal compromise is a world drained of authentic courage and intellectual honesty. Your subconscious fear of stepping outside the bounds of approved goodness leads to a silent self-censorship, a preemptive editing of your own thoughts. Neurologically, you reinforce the neural pathways of compliance, making genuine critical thinking feel not just dangerous, but unnatural. This is the banality of evil. Hannah Arendt described, not born of monstrous intent, but of 1,000 small surrenders to social pressure. You become a passive agent in your own life, upholding a system that offers you moral vanity in exchange for your sovereignty. Culturally, this creates a society where language itself is corrupted. As Orwell chillingly illustrated in 1984, words like peace, freedom, and justice are hollowed out, becoming empty shells used to sanctify any atrocity. You find yourself chanting slogans you don't fully understand, defending positions you didn't arrive at independently, all to maintain your standing within the tribe of the righteous. The greatest tragedy is not the oppression you suffer, but the oppression you unconsciously consent to and enforce upon others. This is the invisible prison. But if the walls are made of our own conditioned thoughts and fears, is escape even possible? The answer is a defiant, revolutionary yes. The rebellion begins with a single heretical act, to stop wanting to be a good person and to start striving to be a real one. This is the radical shift Orwell embodied. It requires embracing the Jungian shadow, acknowledging your capacity for selfishness, aggression, and defiance not as moral failures, but as parts of your humanity. This integration shatters the false self. The goal is no longer to win the moral approval of your tribe, but to act according to a deeper, self-defined integrity, even when it means being condemned. It is the courage to be imperfect, to be uncertain, and to be morally messy. Look to the historical figures who truly changed the world. Socrates, who chose hemlock over silence. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who abandoned the safety of his church to plot against a genocidal regime. They were not good by the standards of their day. They were treasonous, disruptive, and difficult. Their power came from a profound inner authority, a commitment to a truth that transcended social consensus. This is your path to liberation. You must cultivate a ruthless intellectual honesty, questioning every comforting dogma. You must learn to tolerate the anxiety of dissent and the loneliness of independent thought. But this arduous journey leads to the ultimate truth, a realization that redefines the very essence of power and morality. If you're ready to continue this rebellion against conventional thought, your support is crucial. Subscribe, like this video if it provoked you, and join the debate in the comments. The ultimate truth Orwell unearths is this: the final, most insidious cage is the belief that you are free from one. True freedom is not the absence of external constraints, but the relentless, conscious act of confronting the fictions you tell yourself. The good person is a character in a story written by societal forces. Your liberation lies in seizing the pen. Your morality must become a dynamic, evolving practice of discernment, not a static set of rules to be obeyed. This is the paradox at the end of the maze. To be truly good, you must relinquish the desperate need to be seen as such. This is the final, most powerful realization. It redefines the battle from a political struggle to an existential one. The real rebellion is waged in the quiet of your own mind. In the moment you choose curiosity over comfort, integrity over allegiance, and raw, uncertain truth over beautiful, comforting lies. You are no longer a passive subject of a moral system, but the active author of your own conscience. So the question is no longer, are you a good person? The only question that matters, the one that will haunt you long after this fades to black, is this: do you have the courage to lay down the shield of your own virtue and face the world, at last, naked and unafraid? This is just the beginning of a much deeper dive into the forces that shape our world. Subscribe to ensure you're part of it, and tell us what part of Orwell's warning resonated most with you in the comments.